I was a girl in a book, this would all be so easy. Just give up the world happily.
Strange Blue Feelings, a series. SalFisher X Listener, Part 9, Midnight Seance. Heh, you're an awfully big fella. Where are you off to? Got a date with a certain shiny lamp? The fuzzy moth that landed upon the steps beside you wriggled around, seemingly unsure of where it was going until it took off once again, back into the darkness of the night beyond the lightly illuminated front steps of Addison Apartments, where you currently sat, alone. Bye then, Mr. Moth. Your eyes attempted to watch the nocturnal insect fly away for as long as possible until eventually it blended into the pitch black of the nighttime scenery. It was silly, but you still found yourself worrying for the poor thing, hoping an owl wouldn't have it as a late-night snack. Tucking your legs closer to your body, you hugged your knees to your chest and wrapped your worn brown leather bomber jacket tighter around yourself.
Head now resting upon your knees as you blankly stared at nothing in particular. The face of your father in the back of your mind all the meanwhile. This was his old jacket, of course. How could you not think of him? Although, you had to admit, it did need a bit of work done to it so it looked less tattered. You haven't exactly been up to speed on maintaining it. While you began to pinpoint and take mental notes of all the areas that were in need of some stitching and patchwork, the sound of a car creeping into the lot made you redirect your attention from the jacket towards the pair of gleaming headlights, which were turned off soon after, signaling the car had been parked. Footsteps began to approach. From a distance, all you could make of the person was that they were tall and walking at a very relaxed pace, which quickly made sense to you once they had gotten close enough for the dim light from within the building to illuminate them. It was Larry who had emerged from the night's void, plastic convenience store bag in one hand, orange bottle of prescription medication in the other. Why, Ann? The fuck are you doing out here? You shouldn't be alone outside this late. It's like 11:30 by now. You looked at him from where you sat for a second, before standing up, patting any dirt and dust off yourself before making eye contact with him again, smiling. I'm okay, Larry, see? Your arms lifted themselves up, baggy jacket hiding most of your frame, all in one piece. I just came outside to hang out for a while, without my mom telling me to go back inside. She's working the night shift at her job today. What are you doing out so late, though? Did you go for a midnight snack run? The boy laughed as he walked up the steps, now standing beside you to show you all the snacks the plastic bag contained. Chips, candy, soda, you name it. My mom didn't realize her prescription was running out already, so I offered to get it for her. The pharmacy's open all night anyways. So is the convenience store next to it. He smirked. You couldn't help but share his grin. Larry cared deeply about his mother, and you respected that about him. He was the most loving son you'd ever met, all while still being a big old goofball. Let's get you inside. Come on. I'll wait with you until your mom gets back. Just give me a second to drop off my mom's pills, then we can head on up. His offer was one you couldn't decline, and off the two of you went back inside the warm confines of the apartment building. Steaming, rich brown caffeine flowed from the pot and into the ceramic mug, nearly reaching the brim before the container was put back into its place within the coffee maker. A maskless Sal steadily walked into his father's room to give him the beverage he had asked for. Careful, it's fresh, so it's really hot. Need anything else, Dad? His father replying with a fatigued voice. No, that's all. Thanks, kiddo. Gotta get this work done somehow.
His head never turning to look away from the electrical blue glow of the computer screen. Leaving his father to his seemingly never-ending work, Sal walked back into the living room with a sigh, glancing over at the TV which was broadcasting the usual late-night news station. And with that, it is currently 11:49 p.m., Friday, September 25th. Let's take a look at next week's weather forecast. Click. Now sat upon the couch in silence. After switching the television off, he debated between two ways of spending his night: go to bed earlier than usual, or stay up and get a head start on studying for next week's math test. I could go to sleep now, but I'm not tired. Not a school night either, so there's no point in getting to bed early. I really don't want to study, but that math test is going to be hard, and I know YN was having a tough time with understanding the unit. He couldn't help but smile to himself at the memory of her angrily scribbling away in her math notebook. He placed his hands upon the rough, textured scarring of his bare face, shaking his head. Why is it that my train of thought always leads to her? She's got a strong hold on me, but I'm not complaining. I'd give anything to see her face right now. We didn't get to hang out after school today because she had to do chores, and Larry was too tired to do anything. Man, I'd love to hear her voice right about now. Larry, if you get chip dust on my jacket, I'm going to sucker punch you. Like you can reach my face. Don't try me. Surprised, Sal's ears instantly perked up at the muffled voices that spoke, presumably coming from the hallway behind his door. Ian and Larry? What are they doing together so late? He felt a pit begin to form in his stomach. Hey, look, Sal's lights are on. Let's get him. We can all hang out at your place for the night. Yeah, good idea. Should I knock? Let's knock and then run and hide. Hide behind what, Larry? That plant at the end of the hallway? Chuckling, he stood up off the couch, ignoring the pit in his stomach, and grabbed his prosthetic off the kitchen counter, strapping it on while he quietly made his way towards the front door, opening it abruptly to see his two friends standing there. Both you and Larry jumped a bit at the sudden opening of the door, not expecting it whatsoever, making Sallyface laugh as he looked back at the two of you. Hey guys, sorry to ruin your plan to ding-dong ditch me, but I was in the living room. I heard you guys talking. What's this about hanging out at YN's place? The first thing you noticed about Sal was his hair, draped across his shoulders without the restraints of being in pigtails. He must have taken them out for the night. His hairstyle brought you back to the last time you had seen it down, that night a few weeks ago, when the two of you had lovingly embraced one another unknowingly in your slumber. Every time Sallyface even attempted to mention it, though, you'd change the subject or attempt to play it off as just a funny mishap. At least, that's what you tried to convince yourself it was. Hey, Sallyface. Yeah, we were on our way to YN's place, and figured you would want to come too. You up for it? Larry asked, your small figure standing beside him with blush beginning to appear across your face. It couldn't be helped. Seeing Sal with loose hair had that effect on you. Yeah, my mom's working the night shift. Won't be back until around 4 a.m. I'd really appreciate the company, you explained, closing his door behind him. Sallyface stepped into the hallway. Yeah, definitely. My dad's working anyways. He won't mind. And with that, the gang made the small trip over towards your apartment. Once inside, the three of you were about to enter your room when all of a sudden, the lights within your home began to flicker wildly, stopping you dead in your tracks as you watched the living room lamp and kitchen lights blink on and off rapidly, all of you staring at the show of lights in awe, but just as abruptly as it had begun, it ended. No one spoke at first, but eventually you decided you weren't going to let it ruin the mood, wanting to have a nice night with your friends. That's been happening a lot lately. I don't know exactly what it means, but I try and not let it get to me, even though it does kinda scare me. Clearing your throat, you opened the door to your room and walked inside, Larry following behind you, but Sal, he stayed in the doorway. Looking down at the ground, it seemed like he was silently thinking to himself. Larry spoke first upon the subject, sitting upon your bed with his bag of snacks. You know, YN, me and Sallyface here are always around if you don't want to be alone at night. Does your mom work night shifts often? He asked. His tone made it clear that he was concerned about your well-being. You removed your jacket and tucked it away into your closet before turning to face Larry, a meek expression across your face. Thanks, Larry. It's just, I don't want to trouble you guys with it. I mean, you guys already spend so much of your time with me that I feel selfish asking for more of it. I just need to toughen up. Plus, the ghosts can't hurt me. They just... You plopped yourself beside him, resting your head on his shoulder as you shut your eyes and let out a huge sigh before finishing your sentence. Scare me shitless. Still standing in the door frame of your room, Sallyface suddenly spoke up. I'll be right back. And he swiftly turned and walked off, leaving you and Larry both confused and giving each other a questionable glance. Maybe he had to use the bathroom? He suggested with a shrug. While Sallyface was gone, the two of you rummaged through the selection of snacks, playfully arguing over which chip flavor was the best, opening a 2-liter of soda and taking large swigs of it. In the middle of tossing cheese puffs into each other's mouths from across the room, Sal returned, subsequently getting his prosthetic hit with a cheese ball after you missed miserably. "Ah shit, sorry Sal." "Inus," you exclaimed, hurriedly going over to him to wipe the faint spot of orange dust off his mask. Sallyface tensed up slightly at the feeling of you touching his mask. Not that he minded, but it had been a while since you'd been so up close. It made him realize just how much he missed those moments of platonic intimacy with one another. He found himself getting off track, clearing his throat as you stepped back towards your bed. "I went to my place to get this." He held up the famous Super Gear Boy. "You know, I thought it'd be useful. It's pretty obvious Mrs. Sanderson is trying to get Wyan's attention with what happened with the lights earlier. Indeed," he explained, walking over towards the bed to grab a bag of sour cream and onion chips before settling into the chair of your desk. Larry began to speak. "Oh, great idea, Sally." "Oh, wait a second," you excitedly interrupted Larry mid-sentence, jumping off the bed and onto the floor, your arm reaching underneath your bed, feeling around for a specific item. The two boys watched you in confusion for a moment before your hand finally found what it was looking for, proudly holding up to show them as you sat upon the floor, the famous Ouija board that had gotten you suspended. "I know we have the Super Gear Boy, but would you guys mind trying this out with me first? I've always wanted to try this sort of thing out with friends." Putting down the Super Gear Boy onto the desk along with his bag of chips, Sal approached you with a smile underneath his mask. He definitely couldn't refuse after seeing how eager you were. It was too cute. "Sure, Wyan, let's do it. How does this work?" he asked, sitting beside you while eyeing the lightly worn box. After setting the box down upon the floor, you quickly got up and grabbed some unused candles from off your bookshelf along with a matchbox. "Leave it to me. I'll make sure we do this properly. Larry, you joining us?" you asked, placing the candles on the ground besides the now open box that Sal had taken the liberty of opening and setting up. "You guys go ahead. I'll watch from here." He shifted upon the bed, running a nervous hand through his hair as he watched you delicately light each of the candles one by one. "Not to be a buzzkill, but this sort of thing still freaks me out. Sorry, I must sound like a wuss." And he explained as you turned the only source of light, your bedside lamp, off, leaving the three of you in the dimly candlelit darkness of your room. "Don't worry about it, Larbear. You're not a wuss. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little freaked out too, but kneeling down on the opposite side of the Ouija board, you placed your hand on the rounded side of the planchette. At the same time, my morbid curiosity just can't be helped." You spoke, another pair of hands joining you in touching the planchette. "Yeah, I know how you feel, Wyan. I'm glad I'm not the only one with a morbid curiosity around here," Sallyface added. Both of your heads lifted up from the board to look at one another, a big smile across your dimly lit face as you gazed upon Sallyface. His mask looked even more intriguing than usual in this sort of lighting. The hollow dark voids of his mask's eye holes reminded you a bit of a jack-o'-lantern, his lightly shimmering eyes within the cavities resembling blue candle flames. You couldn't see it, but you somehow just knew he was smiling right back at you. "Okay, it's really simple. Just be respectful at all times. Make sure to say goodbye when we're done, and remove the planchette off the board. Easy, right?" you asked, looking at Sal and then Larry, who both nodded in response, giving you the go-ahead to begin the process of asking questions. You cleared your throat one final time before you asked, "Mrs. Sanderson, are you here?" All eyes were on the planchette. Silence. No movement yet, until suddenly it happened. The pair of hands upon the planchette suddenly began to move along towards the corner of the board, giving you your answer. "Yes." You all looked at each other with expressions of both surprise and amusement before composing yourselves to ask the next question. What is it that you want from us? Slowly, it started up again. S-P-E-A-K. Speak? She wants to speak to us, Saul asked, the planchette moving once again too. Yes, a bit confused, Larry asked in a hushed tone. She's speaking to us now. Does she need something else? Ask her. You nodded and did so. What else do you need to communicate with us? E-N-E-R-G-Y. What? Energy? What does she mean by that? While you were confused by the seemingly random response, SalFisher knew exactly what Mrs. Sanderson meant. Larry, grab the super gear boy and use it. Do you remember how? Larry doing as told and walking over towards the desk to retrieve the device. Yeah, I remember. Still unsure of what the response meant, you looked at Sal, raising an eyebrow. Okay, so what's the deal with the super gear boy? I don't understand what it has to do with energy, he began to explain to you. It doesn't just detect supernatural hotspots. It releases some kind of electrical energy currents that the ghosts use to show themselves. I'm sure you've read that in a book or something, right? Ghosts usually need some kind of energy source to be able to appear and communicate. Both of your pair of hands remained upon the planchette as he spoke, Larry now standing before you two as he started up the super gear boy. Okay, I'm doing it now. Ready? He asked, and without hesitating you each responded with an eager, ready. He activated the device, and for a brief moment nothing happened, no sound, no reaction to it. Just as he was about to ask SalFisher why it didn't work, an electrical green glow began to radiate from the device, the glow becoming brighter and brighter, until suddenly everything went dark. The candles had suddenly put themselves out, and the green glow of the super gear boy was now gone, leaving the trio in complete darkness within your room. Shit. What happened? Did I do it wrong? Larry exclaimed, your voice following. I can't see a thing, SalFisher. You're still across from me, right? You didn't want to admit it, but you were frightened, the shakiness of your voice giving it away. Yes, I'm right here, YN. I'm right by you. He reached over to grab your hand, and you instinctively interlocked fingers with him, not wanting to feel alone. Neither of you had time to indulge in this lovey-dovey moment, however, due to the candles suddenly rekindling their flame, illuminating the three of you once again. Wait, it was no longer just the three of you, there were four. Sitting on one side of the Ouija board, in between you and SalFisher, was the person of the hour, in all her ghostly glory, Mrs. Sanderson, still just as grotesque and unsettling as the first time you met her. Larry was the first to speak, well, more like shout, "Holy shit, she's actually here," he stumbled back, hurriedly kneeling down beside you as he looked upon the apparition in shocked amazement. Both you and Sal, however, were much more composed after she had shown herself. The two of you simply had a knack for this sort of thing. Ghosts didn't frighten you. You were able to somehow just know whether their intentions were good or not, and Mrs. Sanderson was not anywhere near being a malicious spirit. Sal spoke up first. Hello, Mrs. Sanderson. Me and YN here didn't ever get the chance to meet you in person, but we're meeting you now. I'm sorry about what happened to you." His voice trailed off, not wanting to bring back any awful memories back to her. However, she didn't seem bothered by it, instead offering the two of you a warm, faint smile as she looked upon you all. She began to speak. "Thank you. I tend not to dwell on it. It's so nice to finally be meeting the two of you. You seem like such nice children, after all." Her milky gaze turned towards an unsettled Larry, who hadn't seen her since her last living moments. Any friends of Larry's are certainly good friends. Once she finished speaking, you took the opportunity to ask, through the Ouija board, you mentioned wanting to speak to us. Is there something in particular you wanted to tell us?" Making eye contact with Mrs. Sanderson, something that felt so unnatural, but at the same time felt welcoming. almost like talking to an old family friend. "Yes," she nodded. "Firstly, I wanted to apologize for giving you such a terrible fright the last time we saw one another. Do you recall? I was just curious about the people who moved into my old apartment. I didn't realize you could see me. When you made eye contact with me and fainted, I felt so terrible to have scared such a nice girl so badly," she explained. Blushing and rubbing the back of your neck, obviously embarrassed, you shook your head and gave her a polite smile. "Oh, no worries. You did scare me, but I know you had no ill intent. It's okay, really," you reassured, accepting her apology. Mrs. Sanderson was happy to know that you forgave her for your initial meeting, now turning her bludgeoned head towards Sallyface, whose eyes were wide, attentive to what was being said. "As for you're quite the little detective, aren't you? If it weren't for your detective work and determination, they would have never arrested Charlie. Thank you, sweetheart. You have a good heart." Sal simply stared back at her for a while. He had no idea she knew about him, going back and forth from her apartment and Charlie's place to gather evidence. She must have been watching from the other side. "There's no need to thank me. How could I not help? It was just the right thing to do. I knew something was off from the moment Larry told me about it. I'm glad he's locked up now." He spoke in an earnest tone. It gave him some closure knowing Mrs. Sanderson was aware of her killer being caught. At least she had that. "Speaking of Larry, I owe him a thank you as well," finally having let his guard down a little. Larry made hesitant eye contact with the spirit as she began to speak to him. Seeing her in such a dreadful state made his stomach turn, but nonetheless he listened to what she had to say to him. "Larry, I never got to thank you for fixing the toilet." She laughed softly. "I know that probably isn't the most exciting news, but I had to thank you nonetheless. You're a good kid, all of you are." With a stutter, Larry awkwardly replied, Yeah, no problem, Mrs. Sanderson," leaving the four of you around the Ouija board now silent, simply soaking up and processing the words that had been exchanged in this somber seance. It felt almost surreal. All of a sudden, the candles began to flicker once again, Mrs. Sanderson glancing down at them and then at the three people before her. "That's my cue to leave. Thank you for having me, kids. It was nice to see you all. Goodbye for now." And just like that, the candles blew out, leaving you in complete darkness, like they had the first time before they ignited themselves once again. The ghost of Mrs. Sanderson, now gone from where she once sat. Larry was the first to speak. "Jesus, that was heavy. I feel weird. But in like a good way, don't you think, guys? It's like closure? Is that what this feeling is?" He asked you and Sal, who were in the process of moving the planchette over to the goodbye section of the board. Yeah, I think so, Larry. I feel it too. How about you, Sal?" You asked him as you began to box up the board once again, returning it to its place underneath your bed. Quiet for a brief moment, Sal let out a sigh before looking up at his two friends, his eyes creased at the corners, signaling a smile underneath his prosthetic. "Definitely. Closure feels good. I'm glad we got to talk to her. It felt like the right thing to do. Thanks for having us over, YM. What time is it? I completely lost track of time." You all looked over at the clock on your nightstand, the glowing green numbers reading 1:13 a.m. "Geez, good thing it's not a school night," Larry remarked with a loud yawn. "I guess we'll stay up until YN's mom gets home. Then we can head home too." Plopping himself back onto your bed, laying on his stomach, Sallyface agreed, returning to his spot upon the desk chair. "Should we watch a movie or something? How's the thing sound? I've had my fill of ghosts for tonight. Let's switch the mood over towards aliens," he joked, making you laugh as you got onto the floor once again, reaching for your box of movies underneath your bed. "Sure thing. Let me find it and I'll play it right now." Seeing you rummage underneath your bed caught Larry's attention. First you pulled an Ouija board out from under there. Now a box of horror flicks. What else could you have down there? Sneakily, Larry creeped a hand underneath your bed from where he lay upon it, while you and Sallyface were preoccupied with getting the movie to play on your television. Grabbing the first thing he felt, pulling it out, and dropping it onto the bed. A yearbook. Jackpot, he smugly thought to himself, immediately opening up the book onto a few pages that were bookmarked. Okay, there it goes. Movie's on. Let's kick back, and once turned around, you saw Larry with the yearbook in his hand as he flipped to the first page with a sticky note on its corner, instantly feeling your face flush. Larry, what the fuck, dude? Give that. Before you could finish your sentence, he began to smirk to himself, holding up the open page towards you and Sal. Holy shit, that's you, YN. You're at a school dance, dress and all. Who's the dude besides you? Is that your boyfriend back home? He asked as he began to howl with laughter. Boyfriend? His stomach dropped at the mere mention of that word. Awkwardly standing before you and Larry as you wrestled over the yearbook, still in Larry's hand as he continued to display the picture that filled the entire page. It was clearly a picture that had been taken at a school dance. You were in a long-sleeved, velvet black skater dress, standing beside a conventionally attractive guy who was dressed just as nicely, matching black tux and all. The two of you held Polaroid cameras in your hands, bold red text at the top of the page reading, "A big thanks to our talented photographers." Finally, you managed to take back the yearbook from your mischievous friend, clutching it to your chest as you embarrassedly huffed to yourself. Okay, before you two go thinking I'm some preppy chick, I did not go to that dance willingly. And you began to explain yourself, setting the book down beside you. Larry quickly taking it back to gawk at the picture once again. I had a really bad PE grade, and I needed those extra points, so they told me if I ran a camera at that dance they'd pass me, and I'd have to be a moron to say no to that deal. Plus, my friend was the other photographer, and he didn't have a date, so we went together. That's how I found out about the deal in the first place. Sal took a seat beside Larry and looked down at the picture, eyeing up the boy in the picture. Could do way better than that. This guy looks like a total chump, he grumbled inside his head. Those cute, jealous thoughts were new for him, but seeing this picture just irked him. So, you get to first base with this guy during a slow dance? Larry asked quite bluntly, looking over at you with a raised eyebrow, making you burst into laughter which confused the two boys for a second before you spoke up again. Dude, I've never gotten to first base with anyone, let alone Damien. He's gay, that's the reason he didn't have a date. No one else at our school was out, so we went as friends. Suddenly Sallyface felt like a real dummy for feeling so jealous, but so relieved at the same time knowing you didn't have a boyfriend back home. He still had a chance. The three of you laughed at the misconception before what you said clicked in Sal's head, and he quite surprisingly asked, "Wait, you haven't gotten to first base with anyone? Does that mean you haven't had your first kiss yet?" he asked innocently, blue eyes wide behind his mask as Larry began to once again howl with laughter, while you were a blushing mess simply staring back at them with a blank expression, obviously caught off guard. Taking a break in between laughs, Larry spoke. "Again, I fucking love how blunt you are, Sallyface," kneeling over with laughter. Realizing what he just said was probably very embarrassing and invasive for you, he instantly began to correct himself. "No, wait, I didn't mean to be rude or anything. I was just surprised. YN is super pretty and cool. How could she not have had her first kiss already? I haven't even kissed anyone before, but it's more understandable for me." "Stop laughing, Larry. You're embarrassing her," Sal exclaimed, at a still keeled over with laughter Larry. Seeing a flustered Sallyface relieved you of your embarrassment slightly. You knew he didn't mean to be so blunt. It was just in his nature. However, your interest did peak when he mentioned he had also not yet had his first kiss. "He hasn't had his first kiss either. Why does that make me happy?" "Oh, jeez, there I go again with this crush, damn it, Sallyface." Stop making it so easy to like you, you thought to yourself with a smile, standing up from where you sat, looking back at your two goofball friends. All right, enough laughing at my expense. Let's have ourselves a midnight dinner. My mom made pasta for dinner tonight, and it's still on the stove. Want to have some? At the mention of food, Larry instantly paid full attention, standing up eagerly. Why didn't you say so sooner? Let's go. And off he went, waltzing out of your room towards the kitchen. You and Sally Face were now alone in your room, and he took the opportunity to apologize once again. Sorry, Wyan. I didn't mean to embarrass you or anything. It just genuinely surprised me, you know, he explained, nervously, adjusting his prosthetic. Still a little embarrassed, you laughed awkwardly and placed a hand upon his shoulder, offering him a kind smile. Don't worry about it, Sal. It's not a big deal. I mean, me and you aren't losers for not having our first kisses yet. We're just very... how do I put it? You paused for a second before finishing your thought. We're just waiting for the right person to come along. You only get to have your first kiss once, so you better make it special. We're both just waiting for that special person to come along, right? You asked him, now making eye contact, butterflies beginning to form in each of your stomachs. However, you two were still completely oblivious to one another's feelings. But there was no denial. Something was there. Shyly, Sal responded with a soft, right, the special person, and with that, the special pair followed Larry into the kitchen to join him in his pasta feast. Regardless of the